India to redraft sports control bill after objections. India's sports ministry is to redraft a bill aimed at regulating the country's sports bodies and limiting the tenure of officials who run them. The National Sports Development Bill faced stiff resistance from the ministers who had cricket and football bodies. The bill was drafted after corruption scandals during last year's Commonwealth Games in Delhi. India's sports federations are mostly run by politicians and have often been accused of lacking transparency. India's cabinet discussed the proposed law on Tuesday at a meeting chaired by Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. The bill is good intentions but needs to be reworked to address objections. Media reports quoted Mr. Singh as saying. Reports quoting unnamed officials said the cabinet objected to some key clauses in the bill, including a limit of 2 terms of 4 years each for officials who head the sports federations and a retirement age of 70. At least 5 cabinet ministers who head important sports federations are said to have objected to the clauses. Tokyo roads blocked in earthquake drill. Japanese police have blocked the main roads in Tokyo during rush hour in an elaborate earthquake drill. It's the first time the authorities have attempted to simulate the gridlock that would occur after a major disaster. People across Japan hold drills every year on 1st September. This year it has been taken even more seriously than usual because of the earthquake and tsunami that struck the northeast of the country in March. At precisely 9 hours, sirens howled and whistles blew as the police stepped into the roads and blocked them. For 10 minutes, traffic was stopped at 100 points in Greater Tokyo, the biggest urban area in the world. Jams quickly built up. The aim was to practice how emergency vehicles could get through the gridlock feared after the earthquakes ended on the city. Japan has been rehearsing for disaster on the morning of 1st September for years. It is the anniversary of a massive earthquake in Tokyo in 1923. This is the first time traffic has been halted. The decision was made after earthquake and tsunami in March caused major disruption in the city, even though the epicenter was well in the north. Schools and business across the country also practiced evacuations, and the cabinet held a simulated emergency meeting at the Prime Minister's office. The elaborate drills and the early warning systems of loudspeakers are credited with keeping the death toll in March below 16,000, with another 4,258 still missing. August was deadliest month for US in Afghan war. August 2011 has become the deadliest month for US troops in the early 10-year war in Afghanistan, according to an unofficial tally. The Associated Press counted the 66 US deaths in the month, including 30 killed when their helicopter was shot down by Taliban insurgents. But across the year, casualties are down slightly from 2010. President Barack Obama plans to withdraw 33,000 troops from Afghanistan by next summer. As our mission transitions from a combat to support, Afghans will take responsibility for their own security, and longest war in American history will come to a responsible end, President Obama told Veterans Event on Tuesday. Last month, the newly installed NATO commander in Afghanistan, General John Allen, warned tough days ahead as insurgents step up attacks on coalition forces. The 30 US troops, mostly Navy SEAL Special Forces, died when their Chinook helicopter was shot down by Taliban insurgents on 6 August, making the single largest loss of US life in the war. In the first 8 months of this year, 306 US troops died in Afghanistan, according to a tally by iCasualties.org. That's down about 5% from the first 8 months of 2010, when 321 US troops were killed. This year, 10,000 troops are to be withdrawn from Afghanistan, with another 23,000 pulled out in 2012. The move will leave about 68,000 US troops there. Foreign troops are expected to end combat operations in Afghanistan by 2014. We'll move on to the business world. US is set to sue a dozen big banks over mortgages. The federal agency that oversees the mortgage giants Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac is set to file suits against more than a dozen big banks, accusing them of misrepresenting the quality of mortgage securities they assembled and sold at the height of the housing bubble and seeking billions of dollars in compensation. The Federal Housing Finance Agency's suits, which are expected to be filed in the coming days in federal court, are aimed at Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs and Deutsche Bank, among others, according to 3 individuals briefed on the matter. The suits stem from subpoenas the finance agency issued to banks a year ago. If the case is not filed Friday, they said it will come Tuesday, short before deadline expires from housing agency to file claims. The suits will argue the banks, which assembled the mortgages and marketed them as securities to investors, failed to perform the due diligence required under securities law and missed evidence that borrowers' income were inflated or falsified. When many borrowers were unable to pay their mortgages, the securities backed by the mortgage quickly lost value. Fannie and Freddie lost more than $30 billion, in part as a result of the deals, losses that were borne mostly by the taxpayers. In July, the agency filed suit against UBS, another major mortgage securitizer, seeking to recover at least $900 million, and individuals with knowledge of the case said the new litigation will be similar in scope. Welcome to the world of science. Space junk at tipping point, says report. Scientists in the US have warned NASA the amount of so-called space junk orbiting Earth is at tipping point. A report by the National Research Council says the debris could cause fatal leaks in spaceships or destroy valuable satellites. It calls for international regulations to limit the junk and more research into the possible uses of launching large magnetic nets or giant umbrellas. Debris includes clouds of minuscule fragments, old boosters, and satellites. Some computer models show the amount of orbital rubbish has reached a tipping point, with enough currently in orbit to continually collide and create even more debris, raising the risk of spacecraft failures, the Research Council said in a statement on Thursday. Hopes of limiting the amount of space junk in orbit suffered 2 major setbacks in recent years. In 2007, China conducted an anti-satellite weapon test, which destroyed a decommissioned weather satellite, smashing the object into 150,000 pieces larger than 1 centimeter. The International Space Station sometimes has to dodge orbital debris. 2 years later, 2 satellites, one defunct and one active, crashed in orbit, creating even more debris. And in sports, India welcomed Messi for Argentina friendly. India is due to host its first ever international football friendly when Argentina takes on Venezuela in the eastern city of Kolkata. The match will feature Argentine superstar and World Player of the Year Lionel Messi. More than 1 lakh people are expected to watch the game at a city stadium. The organizers hope the match will inspire more Indians to play the game. India is ranked 158 among the 203 football-playing countries. Reporters in India's football capital Kolkata says that the city has been gripped by Messi mania ever since the Argentine team arrived in Kolkata early on Wednesday. The god of football is in town. It's almost surreal, Malay Banerjee, a software professional, told AFP news agency. My father, myself, and my son are Argentina fans. For us, it's a dream come true to have the team play in our own backyard. Office worker Rohini Bishwa said she had been barely able to sleep for the last 2 nights in anticipation of the game. I never thought I would get a chance to see Messi play at one of our stadiums. However, many feel the games like this do little to help spreading the popularity of football in India. A match like this really doesn't do anything to India as a football country. Simply because of showcasing top football brands, you don't really improve your football. That's something you need to do on your own, leading football writer Dhiman Sarkar told reporters. And before we close today's bulletin of news analysis, let's have a recap of the main points. In Libya, former enemy is recast in the role of Anna Hazare. Scanning 2.4 billion eyes, India tries to connect poor to growth. Anti-Israel protests disrupt BBC Proms concert. Anti-Graft activist Anna Hazare returns home after fast. Rajiv Gandhi murder, court stays hanging off plotters. India to redraft sports control bill after objections. And there we end today's bulletin of news analysis. A happy Onam to you all. Thank you.